Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye, bye. Let's get straight to it. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you do that. Put your notification bell on all, so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. I appreciate it, and I'm very humble. Thank you guys. Loca, Miss Loca, right? From the Los Angeles area. Show! Look, she's a woman, first and foremost. So to sit here and disrespect her and go in on her for saying a few wrong things, you should not ever do that, man. And I'm seeing people do that on the internet. She's getting a lot of heat right now. People are talking a lot of shit, a lot of papas, because they believe that she is speaking on things she shouldn't, but even more so than that, she's misleading people. Now, the facts are this. Miss Loca has been on the Hood Stocks podcast. I don't know if she's become a member of the podcast, but I've seen her on there a couple times. And she was talking about the Stockton mass shooting incident. It came up in conversation, and she seemed very credible in what she knew until she spoke, right? She misspoke by placing blame on the Nortenos for this Stockton mass shooting, for saying that they were the ones who did this. Now, I don't know who fed her information, but they definitely misdirected her. They directed her down the wrong road, right? Nobody at this point, besides those involved, know exactly who the shooters are, what gang they're from, what group they represent. It may or may not be the Norteños business. But at the end of the day, there's nobody on social media, no one in media period, that should pass judgment or assume it's one particular gang because Sosa said so, right? Now, I get it. Miss Loca is pretty relevant in what she's doing, and she's definitely something good to look at. But at the same time, if you don't have all your facts straight, the best thing to do is to try to get them straight. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like everything I've ever said has been 100% concrete, stamp it, put a flag in it, and let's roll, right? Because that's a false narrative. That's fake. That's not the truth. The truth is, we all get things wrong, and we don't need to be ridiculed, hated on, and disrespected, especially if you're a woman behind that. Now, what she does not understand, and I know she's new to podcasting and to being involved with these types of conversations, but what she needs to get her shit together on is, when you're speaking about an active case, a case that's ongoing, something that's as dangerous and explosive as the Stockton mass shooting is and was, right? You need to definitely be on point. You definitely need to do your homework on what you're talking about, because when you're just throwing out there on the internet, oh, this is the group that did it, people are going to take that as pura, as 10-5 a key. They're going to believe, oh, maybe she knows something, or someone told her something that I don't know. And then you could spark a flame. If you recall, there was an issue that took place last year where in Colorado, there was an apartment complex that was supposedly, allegedly taken over by Venezuelan gangs, right? And that news was all over social media, was all over big time media. TMZ was reporting on it. I mean, everybody, the world was talking about it. I did several videos on it. Every content creator did, because that's what we kind of do. We kind of find something that's going on that's relevant to the world, and we all put our spin on it. We all put our, we all give our flavor, our perspective. And depending upon who you watch, who you support, who you like, where you get your facts from, that's who you're going to watch. There's no hatred. There's no competition. It just is what it is. So don't be shocked if you see 10 different people doing the same video, but they all talk about it different. They all got their talking points, their PowerPoints, and they all got their own perspective. That's why I don't hate, and I don't take it offensively when people, I don't take offense to it when people are like, oh, this guy already did a video like that, or this guy already did a video like that. Of course, there's only so much to talk about. Now, if you support him and like listening to his shit, go over there. If you like listening to me, stay right here. It doesn't matter, or listen to both, preferably, right? look out for both of us. It helps. It helps our algorithm. Now, when that incident took place in Aurora, Colorado, there was some woman who put out there a narrative that the Hells Angels motorcycle club, the bikers, were going to pull up to Aurora, Colorado to clear out that apartment complex of this gang. They were going to step in because they were tired of the way that the citizens and the community was being treated by these guys like hostages in their own homes. When that was never the case. This was something she fabricated out of her imagination and was just throwing out there. Now, she later apologized for sparking that flame, but it took national notice, right? The news was all over it. People were talking about Hells Angels are pulling up. They're coming in mass force. They're coming to do this when they just were minding their own business and had zero to do with that. Now, I'm sure a lot of them are very, very much so patriots, and they don't believe in their country being ran around by people that they don't agree with. But at the same time, they never said they were going to pull up. And in fact, that's none of their business. That gavel didn't drop for them to pull up on Aurora. They had nothing to do with it, and it never happened. There was people literally running around saying they're on their way. I seen them on the freeway. I seen them on the freeway. They seen a couple motherfucking bikers going to 7-Eleven for a chimichanga and a Slurpee. They didn't see no one going to Aurora, Colorado. But that's just the way it is. One person putting out misinformation could spread a wildfire, and now everybody's talking about it. Ask Kim Z. They do it a lot, right? I'm not saying everything they say is wrong, but what they say, people definitely listen to. So you have to watch what you say. Now, Miss Loca is getting a lot of people hating on her. I see it on social media right now. I don't know if she's seen it. I'm sure she has, especially when it's something about yourself. People will send it to you. I get it every fucking day. People sending me stuff. Hey, look what they're saying. Hey, look what this person's saying. I don't care, right? I don't give a fuck. But at the same time, you kind of do, right? Because you sit there and you look in the mirror and you're like, damn, you know, why does everyone hate on me? Is it because I got a big old thing? Is it what is it? What is it? What is about me that makes people dislike or try to discredit everything I do? And then you realize, man, there's no answer. It's just you. They want to be like mine. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Or something else, something it's their feminine qualities. Miss Loca is going to get a lot of hatred for saying it was the Nortenos who did this, when in fact no one has been blamed, nor have they been arrested. I'm sure they have plenty of suspects, and I'm sure she kind of got the story twisted, but she was off on a lot of her details. Okay, she was off on who got killed, how many people were shot, where this fucking party took place, whose party it was. I mean, she didn't know too many details, but look, and I'm not going to say this in a bad way, women earmuff it, because I don't want you to think that, because there's a lot of feminine ass dudes, some they-thems out there, right? But she's a woman just going by what she's hearing on the internet, and she's just having a conversation. You know, she's just, I won't say chismosa because I don't want to disrespect her like that, because I have nothing bad to say about that woman other than she got some things wrong. But all the people that are going in on her and that are talking shit, come on, man, that's a woman. That's a lady, man, that has never did anything to a man to make him make a video disrespecting her. This video is not to do that. This video is to give her game, some knowledge she can't get in college, and to say to the people out there, when you're watching content, you know, take it for what it is, entertainment, and people trying to be as professional as they can. But we don't come from that life. A lot of us don't. There are some that sit there and put a tie on and think they're a fucking detective, but they're not that. Just 2 years ago, they were living in their mother's basement playing Nintendo, right? And all of a sudden, they get a little platform. They get a little bit of credibility on here by their stories. And that's that. And that's what, right? You know, I'm going to be doing a video because I have to issue an apology. I'll probably be doing it tomorrow, man. So I want you guys to tune in for that. All behind this content creation stuff. I didn't know, but we'll get into that. With Miss Loca, I will say that everything that I've seen from her, she's a pretty upstanding woman. When the Jenny 6ix9ine incident happened and she got jumped on by a couple women, some in the industry, she definitely stepped up and was willing to take that fade for 6ix9ine. Now, Jenny 6ix9ine, I don't know what her issue was with these other people. If she just didn't like him and this was the errant opportunity to voice that, or it was just her way of getting a little clout or getting a little views. I don't know. You can't judge a book by its cover, but one thing I can say for sure, she stood on her 10 about it. She didn't bow down. Got to respect that, right? Now she finds herself surrounded by men in a very manly driven genre, okay, on YouTube. And she's trying to hold her own. And yes, she got some shit wrong. She got some shit very wrong. And that's a thing on don't speak unless you're spoken to. And don't speak if you don't know what's going on. And it's a lesson that she's going to have to learn. That's why people are talking shit. And a lot of people that are talking shit, and I get it, are the northern podcasters and these northern channels like this is Hispanic, Northern Hispanic Zone and things like that, right? That happen to come up on my feed. I don't know why. I guess it's because I do tell stories that have some type of semblance towards the Norteño cause, I guess, right? But they do. They're taking shots like, hey, she got shit all fucked up. And I think they feel disgruntled or that it was inappropriate for her to speak on the Norte when she's not from Northern California. But again, she's a woman. She could talk about whatever the hell she wants. She could do whatever the hell she wants, right? Anyone can. That's the great thing about the world we live in. You're free to speak on everything and do whatever you want. People are going to judge you. They're going to hate. They're going to say, I would never. But they don't know until their shoes are in them boots, right? That's just to their feet are in them boots. I was going to say their shoes. Their shoes are in them boots, but their feet are in them shoes of the boots till they know, right? That's like all these dudes. I'll never tell. You're facing life. It was Henry, right? They're quick. The fact of the matter is, Loca, I believe, is a good person. I've never met her, but I've been around people that have. And I could say I've heard nothing but good, okay? So, yeah, she got it wrong. She did blame, this incident, this shooting on the Norteños. Quick to say it was the Norteños that did it. And I think just coming from her background and her lifestyle, like, I don't know much. And again, I'd be misspeaking without doing my background. But just seeing her as like a homegirl, right? A chick that's been around Southsiders, been around homies, been around the raza, right? Been in that lifestyle or around that lifestyle, car clubs, car shows, everything that entails a Chicano, Mexicano, Masureño, Mexicano, all that she should know, that the way raza gets down. So it seems like she automatically assumed had to be the Norteños. Shooting like that, this, and that. Also, what plays into that factor a lot is that Goshen shooting. People have stopped talking about that, but I haven't. That Goshen shooting was a blemish, man. It was a slap in the face of Northern California. For two active Norteños to go ahead and go into a family's home and kill a baby and a young girl, a young lady, that definitely was not a good look, man. Regardless of what orders were issued or what fucking the opposition was doing at that home or how this person felt he was disrespected, these two dudes. That right there was definitely an eye-opening experience that, man, sometimes these gay members, sometimes people, man, would just do some shitty stuff, worse than we even think about. So I think taking that into account, plus what's, the streets are saying, because everyone's blaming everyone. Oh, maybe it was these guys. Oh, maybe it was. I mean, I've heard 100 different stories, and I've never once said what group it was that I've heard about that I think it could be, because it's an active, ongoing investigation, and I got to tread lightly. I'm not trying to help the officers. At the same time, I understand kids were killed, and all bets are off, right? If the person walked in my door right now and said, hey, I'm the one who told, hey, bro, you got to get the fuck up out of here and go turn yourself in, eh? Straight up, get up out my pad. But at the same time, I'm just not trying to lead to confusion and fucking up the case. And so, her saying what she said definitely could shed a bad light on the Norteños. But even more so than that, it could have people talking, and the next thing you know, fools are getting jammed up. And you can fuck a lot of people's business up by the words that you speak it from your mouth. So still, with that being said, this woman doesn't deserve to be disrespected. She doesn't deserve to be called a tonta or a fucking torta or idiot. And when I say torta, I say it with a loving embrace, right? Because I love me a tonta. I think everyone knows that I'm a certified torta pounder. But at the same time, I don't take it to disrespect or say it to disrespect women. It's just kind of a word we use, man, jokingly, right? Same thing when my ex chick used to say pendejo, right? She loved me, but I was, right? So that's just that. But I just wanted to say to the people that are going in on Loca and to the people that are saying, hey, these dudes from down south and this podcast from down south is definitely pointing fingers and basically dry snitching and telling. No, that's not the case, because if your group wasn't involved, let anyone say whatever they want to say. Only you know what time it is, There's a lot of Norteños in the city of Stockton that I'm sure are involved in certain instances and are not. That doesn't mean as a whole, the group, every one of them, man, is guilty of killing a child. But it is definitely a blame you don't want to place. When you're saying that it was the Norteños and you're not being specific to certain individuals, right? You're basically blaming and saying all Norteños, man, kill kids and do these type of cowardice acts. And that's not the truth. There's a little bit of everyone, man, that are stupid from every different group and every gang, right? And it doesn't mean everyone should be judged based upon their actions. Not at all, not even close. So I want to say to Loca, man, hopefully she progresses in her podcasting and what she's doing and her conversation skills. But someone needs to definitely get at her and be like, hey, Holmes, check it out, girl. Let me get at you. You know, we can't speak on these certain things because this is considered dry snitching. And even more so than that, if we don't have the facts straight, you know, people can feel some type of way. Now, I understand this podcast is from Southern California, so they could really kind of give a fuck what the North thinks, right? North feels the same way about the South, and it shouldn't be that way. Because unfortunately, man, you could hurt people's livelihoods. You could hurt people's families, people that are not even directly involved with that shooting, that are just out there getting it, doing their thing, just trying to pay for their presents for their kids or whatever. And it doesn't matter if they're a gang member. It doesn't matter if they've lived that life. You know, hey, I don't hate a person because they're a gang member. You know, I feel bad for them because I understand the lifestyle they live, the hardships they go through, and what they're going to continue to go through. But I don't fucking sit there and hate on them. So it's definitely a situation where you can fuck everything up for a group, and you can't just sit there and shrug your shoulders and be like, we don't get along with them anyways. You know, I learned a long time ago, man, you don't tell on your enemy. You don't, you know what I mean? There's other ways. If you're with the business, there's other ways to handle that. Now, I'm not saying that Loca was trying to misdirect and point fingers just because dudes are from up north. No, she just got a bad story, and it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. Me, I'm giving you updates on that story tremendously. I'm trying to do the best I can. I might not be the first one to break it to you. I might not be the last, but I'm definitely going to break it, right? One thing I will say for sure is she definitely had some of the facts straight, but a whole lot of the facts wrong. And I'll tell you this right now, no group, especially the Nortenos, Southsiders, anybody, Crips, Bloods, are suspects in this case that we know of right now. If she got some secret squirrel information that I don't know, damn, girl, you did that. So I guess having big boobies works, right? But me, straight up, man, I have not heard that the Nortenos were directly involved. I did hear that the 21-year-old that was killed was an active Norteño, you know, so anything is possible. But I'm saying for the people that are directly hating on this woman, let it go, bro. It's not that serious. And remember, at all times, she's a lady. And you have to show some class when it comes to a woman and give her a pass because she's a woman. And that's just the facts. And I'm not giving women any extra special fucking privileges because they're not men. But come on, man. I'm a brown man raised in a household with women, understanding that, hey, you know what I'm saying? You respect, period. Right or wrong, homie. Grit your teeth. Put your muzzle on lock and just deal with it. Don't lift hands to them. Don't raise voices to them. Don't disrespect them. Just understand this clearly, man. You ain't never going to be right in the eyes of humans, right? Anyone that takes advantage of a woman or disrespects them to the utmost and to the fullest like that is going to be treated likewise, right? Anyways, just wanted to put that out there, man. You know, a lot of her facts were off, but there's no hatred there, man. She definitely is a woman to be reckoned with. I'm sure in podcasting, a lot of people are going to tune in, not only because of her looks, but because she's intelligent, man. And she's got that grind. And I respect it. It's just, mija, you were definitely off in this case. Norteños are not suspects. They didn't do this shooting, allegedly, right? And you got kind of the victims off. You know, there was a certain number of people that got shot and a certain number of people that died. She had the whole gist of it, like the roundabout story, but not the facts. And there's no hatred. Again, not, like I said, not everyone's going to say things the same way. And that doesn't mean they need to be shitted on, hated on. You know, in fact, I'm going to be doing a video tomorrow, and I want everyone to pay close attention because I'm going to clear up a whole lot of rumors tomorrow, man. Anyways, and some that aren't rumors. So we're going to get to it. Anyways, with that being said, I want to send mine to the Hood Stocks podcast because I enjoy watching their podcast. They're the realest podcast in Southern California, period. I love watching it, right? Loca, I send mine because, again, man, you're a grown woman. You're doing some grown things, right? Bang, bang. And to all of you out there, man, don't be judgmental, especially on a woman, man, that's just trying to get her foot in the door in this podcasting, in this prison gang genre type shit, because it's hard, man. It's hard for me. And I've been doing it for 5.5 years. And not everyone's going to get everything straight and everything right. And that doesn't mean you got to feel disrespected by it. But again, Loca does need to remember that it's an active, ongoing investigation, and you can't taint it with bullshit. You can't have caca mouth. Straight up. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. This video right here is sponsored by Barrio Liquors out there in Turlock, California. If you're ever in the area in the Central Valley 209, go to Turlock to the Barrio. Go get you something cool and refreshing to drink. Bang, bang. Ha ha, you thought I was done.